Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, bro. One of you asked me about can we work with a 15-minute breakout after we hit some H4 level. This is my take on it. Yes, we can, but like every breakout, we need to understand the actual order flow, and if this breakout, this is part of understanding the order flow. If this breakout is a valid breakout or an invalid breakout. This is why couple of mentors uh, don't use the 15 minutes with the H4 and instead use the H1, right? And we can use the same logic with the daily time frame. I'm just going to show you one example. Some mentors, some people like are scouting for a breakout. I mean, on when they see a daily rejection, this count for some H4 breakout instead of an H1. I said daily, reject daily, H4 breakout, but an H4 H1 breakout can also be valid. Now, if you think about it, the reason why these mentors uh, want to see an H4 breakout is because when we see an H4 breakout, it is most likely that the H1 breakout that happened is valid. Right? It is most likely gonna be a valid breakout because most likely it happened and then price continued. But if you're able to understand the order flow, you don't need to wait for an H4 breakout when you see a daily reject. You don't need to wait for an H4 breakout. You see an H1 breakout, it's enough to establish a storyline on the daily. You see a 15-minute breakout, it can be enough to establish a storyline for the H4 time frame, right? You see a 5-minute breakout, it is potentially enough to establish an H1 storyline if that breakout was a valid breakout. This is the basic idea. So let's look at one example. You see here we have a daily reject daily right here. Now let's look on the H1 now, right? Because we had a daily reject daily, we can anticipate a daily breakout to work with, and we can see that we had a. This is the daily coming into the daily level, right? Daily coming into the daily level, daily rejecting, and if you pay attention, we have a daily bullish breakout. Um, I know some people are probably gonna be like, okay, we had a trade here, right? We had a trade. Good, good. You had a trade. I mean, you're a sniper. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going with the flow. I'm going with the flow. So the moment I see price here tap into a potential resistance zone, right? We had the potential supply zone here. Right, for me, this bullish breakout isn't valid. Now let's look on the H4 if we had anything. Here's the H4, and if we look here, this is the daily rejection. We don't have anything. See what I'm saying? We potentially could have saw some bullish breakout if price closed above this level, right? But the reason I mean, the fact is they didn't close above this level, most likely because of what I said earlier. I said it tapped into some strong like resistance area, and so for that reason, the bullish breakout we had on the H1 wasn't valid. It's important to understand and to see these uh, invalid breakouts because we reason in pure price action, we reason a lot using breakouts, right? Using breakouts, so we need to validate, invalidate these breakouts because we know this happens, right? And so what we had on the H4 is a rejection. Now we had the H4 reject H4 instead. Let's try to look at this. Right, so we have this H4 reject H4, and you look on the M15. Where's the breakout level? It is located right here. This is the bearish breakout, validating the bearish storyline on the H4. Where did this bearish breakout tap into? Nothing significant, right? We don't see any strong support area here, right? There was no strong support area, and for that reason, We can then trust the H4 as becoming like bearish for his storyline. Alright, so on this pullback here, we can eventually engage short, right? If we there are other elements. If we consider like this area like as a valid area for short, you know what I'm saying? What's interesting is I see plenty of people getting the trade from a PY standpoint, like sniping things. Like they'd be like, okay, we have a pin bar here, right? We have a pin bar, we have a gap, right? I can do the same. I mean, just look at your chart. Just look at your chart. Scan for this. Like just scan for this exact setup. Right. Look for a pin bar. Look for a gap. Right. Pin bar gap. You have a single candle liquidity. Right. Single candle liquidity. Whatever. Um. Look for this condition after a breakout, and tell me if price it's gonna hold. Right. If we don't if you're not able to understand when the breakout is valid versus when it's not valid, the breakout can be a hell of a beautiful breakout with a gap, with a pin bar, with a bpr, with a whatever, I don't know, with a fair value, with a volume imbalance, with a I don't know, with Trump on side of prices saying price go down, my brother, go down. Price isn't gonna hold if the breakout isn't valid. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to hold, right? It can This is just an additional confirmation for me. I don't trust patterns. I don't trust patterns. I'm just looking at the order flow, right? I'm losing some indicators just for the. I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm using some indicators, right, for understanding, so stay in sync with the order flow, right? There's no shame with it. I'm not like a pure price action. Like I don't need. I'm a new generation. You know, I saw some people talk, telling other people, "Oh, you're using some indicator. Oh, so but me, I'm a part of the new generation of traders. Like new generation of what? Price never changes. Price action behavior never changes, right? Since the early days of forex, of indices, of trading, things never change. Things never change. It's always the same thing. So, you can use an indicator. You can use whatever thing you need. The moment you understand a breakout is invalid, you save. You understand a breakout is invalid, you save. You can. This is just POI refinement, right? When I see using, if all the other tools I use um, confirm the flow, right? The bearish flow coming, right? This is just POI refinement, right? This is just POI refinement. We have a pin bar. So for me personally, if I had the confirmation right here, I will look at this. I will recognize the pin bar, understand price naturally love these pin bars. I will see a gap right here. We see single candle liquidity right here also. Um, you know what I'm saying? So for that reason, I would maybe use the apex right for entry, put the stop loss with a bit of margin above, and that would be fine. I would be happy with a one risk to reward if I understand the potential target should be located right here. Right, that would be fine. And look at the timing. This is 12 p.m. This is already 12 p.m. How much RR do you want to make at 12 p.m.? You know what I'm saying? How much? How much? Just get out. One mystery world. You'll be happy. Be happy. Enjoy the rest of the day. Right? One mystery word after like 1 hour, right? Mental capital preservation, my brother. Just be aligned with it, stay aligned with the flow, and that's it. All right, thank you for watching. See you later, boys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.